Hello, you.
Welcome to Season 5 of The Uncle Show, and let me tell you, I got some cool things planned for this season. With my 50th episode on the horizon, I opted to go for probably my biggest episode ever. However, I also wanted the chance to talk about a wide variety of different figures from all across Transformers and other franchises, as well as a lot of the new releases coming out. So stay tuned, get subscribed, this is going to be an exciting one. And we're going to start off big with another edition of Figure Freak Off. We got a big one today because the last two, there were clear winners, but this time we have two high-end versions of the same character duking it out for supremacy. Masterpiece Victory Saber and Haslab Victory Saber. Whoever wins, we go into financial debt.
Hey, sorry for the interruption, but have you subscribed yet?
Well, why not?
Because not everyone who watches this video may be subscribed. I upload new videos weekly alongside other shorts and live streams, so hit subscribe and hit the bell for updates on new videos. Once I hit 7,500 subscribers, I'm planning a big retrospective on Metroplex, so that's something to get excited for. Also, consider becoming a channel member. Your financial support goes into making these videos and would be a massive help. Thank you so much. Now back to the video.
I talked about Transformers Victory in the past and I've just started watching it as of writing. I already looked at Deathsaurus, the primary villain of Victory, with both his excellent Haslab figure and a really good Masterpiece-like figure by third-party Planet X. There's a lot I like about that video, and a lot I don't like. What the hell was I thinking with that backdrop? That's a pillowcase attached to the wall. But now it's time to cover Star Saber, who one comment said I was a coward for refusing to cover. Well, sorry buddy, I play the long game. You have no idea how long I make these videos in advance. I could be dead and still be uploading. Anyhow, Star Saber was the lead hero in Victory, and he brought a lot of unique aspects. The biggest thing being that, rather than his main Saber form being able to transform, he merges and pilots a transforming ship to form the mighty Star Saber, a brave and noble warrior who aims to still seek the good in all beings. Acting as a foster father for a human boy, possibly the first in Transformers history, even willing to spare his enemies if he sees compassion in them. Then IDW were like, nah, and turned him into a religious zealot as some sort of biting commentary from an old fan, and then gets sliced in half by Cyclonus. Great use of an awesome character there. Fun fact I've just found out, remember that whole poll to decide who would be a Power of the Prime's leader that Star Saber lost? No joke, because it was hinted that it was going to be the IDW version of the character, it tanked the poll for that version of Star Saber. Characterization so bad, it ruined a comeback. Anyhow, thanks to his cool gimmick and unique design courtesy of the original Gundam artist Kunio Okawara, his toy became quite valuable on the secondhand market and has led to several new figures, including an adorable budget release in 2004 with his Robot Masters version, and in 2015 with his adorably not budget Masterpiece figure. But there was a problem with the MP figure. It was just Star Saber. In the anime, Star Saber can combine with another Japanese favorite, Victory Leo, to form Victory Saber, an awesome super mode version of Star Saber. Takara's Masterpiece figures wouldn't do combiners until another 8 years later. It wouldn't be until 3 years later when Keith's Fantasy Club, aka the other KFC, released their own third-party Victory Leo with Simba. Because it's not enough to piss off Takara, you want to piss off Disney and Kentucky Fried Chicken too. But then Hasbro a few years later decided they wanted in on the action with the very successful Haslab campaign for Legacy Victory Saber. So today I figured we'd do something of a comparison between these two titans to see which is the better deal. Because, let's be honest, both aren't cheap. But which is better? We're going to be including KFC Simba in this too for the full Victory Saber experience. We're going to skip out on certain modes, however, such as Legacy's base mode because MP doesn't have one, and totally not because that's a tacked-on piece of crap. Let's start with the untransformed Saber before he became a star. And by size alone, Masterpiece is winning. He is packing a big presence with even bigger shoulders to match, and bigger kibble on the legs to go with it. And you can open both up to reveal the Brain of Courage! And once again, Masterpiece is winning on size, though it must be asked, is anyone really winning with sizing up Titan Masters? Though I will say Masterpiece does get bonus points for the elevator-like insertion, so you'd think this is an easy win for Masterpiece, right? Well, hold on there, buckaroo, because what Haslab Saber lacks in size, he makes up for in detail. There is a lot more to look at with Haslab Saber, with way more mechanical points, much more paint, and he just looks more interesting. And that's not getting into the critical thing with Haslab Saber. Articulation. For being essentially the lead into the figure everyone cares about, Saber packs quite a punch. Head can turn, although not all the way, shoulders can shift up or down, and are on ball joints, arms go 90, hands can butterfly and are also on ball joints, waist swivel, ab crunch, perfect spread, knees go 90 back and even almost 90 forward, toes can go up and down, and there's even a little bit of a pivot. This is one of the most articulated deluxe size figures I've ever seen. Like, it's actually strong enough that they could have released this on its own. Not that they'll do it because lol, Haslab. Masterpiece, meanwhile, has about the same. Shoulders can go up and down, but not nearly as well. Shoulders are on ratchet joints for some reason. Waist swivel, no. Ankle pivots and toe adjustment, no. Knees can rotate quite well at least. So yeah, MP is a bit of a brick. I feel like if this guy was released on his own, he wouldn't get the best reception. Also, the ratchet joints, while I'm sure they're there to add a luxury feel, actually feel a lot worse than if they just did friction joints. Like, this feels stiff and like it's about to bust. Set the actress to the bishop. Oi oi. Not all that fun to handle, but now I know what you're thinking. Just get to the big robot already. Well, hold on. This is Transformers. We gotta transform him. Who are we, YOLO Park? The transformation for these two are almost identical in a lot of ways, though if I had to pick, I think the Legacy one was a bit better as a transformation. There are some parts on the Masterpiece figure that feel a little bit scary, but the final results for the jet mode, let's face it, MP is the winner here. While the detailing is roughly the same, the larger wings and size does help out MP's Saber a lot. It looks a lot more air capable than the smaller Legacy one, and even including some flight controls. Not that the Legacy one is bad though, I still maintain you could release this one on its own and it'd still look good, but there's no contest for the vehicle. But how does it look with some more power? Honestly, neither are super good. I'll say I think the Legacy gets its detailing back and points for articulated cannon, but let's face it, this is just the warm-up to the big robot. The Legacy one just has way too many holes on it, like good God almighty, I know all of it is for weapon storage, but did you need this many? The Masterpiece is a lot cleaner but less detailed, so pick your poison. But we've warmed up enough. We're ready to go. Let's get to the big robot. Just gotta turn these guys back to their robot modes first. In an odd turn of events, the MP transformation into robot mode is a lot simpler than the Legacy one. Color me surprised. There's a lot more locking in and tabbing with the Legacy one, while the MP has a lot of shunking in and out. Though MP is winning with the head transformation, which attaches on a hook that looks really cool and animation accurate, while Haslab is just a parts forming piece for the head. A bit disappointing for something that had to be crowdfunded and was technically more expensive on original release. But look, no matter what you're going with, you're getting two absolutely gorgeous figures. Star's Saber as a design is already a fantastic one, and these do him justice. From every angle, he is just incredibly clean. The colors are incredibly well balanced, never feeling overwhelming. His proportions are on point. He passes the silhouette test, and both bring something unique to the table. Legacy is rocking the extra detailing of Siege onwards, but doesn't go overboard with the detailing, preventing him from looking flat. while MP cleans it up, but not to a point where it looks boring to look at like a lot of other hyper-tuned style figures. Also, it's just nice to see Chrome make a comeback, though I think MP's has aged a bit. Ain't quite as vibrant as it probably should be. Now, while MP is definitely winning on size, is it true what they say? The bigger they are, the harder they articulate? Because for Legacy, this thing is a dream of articulation. With so many bits of movement, this thing is extremely posable on all counts. He's just so flexible, well worth your time. Even more posable than the already good deluxe. The only problem is no T-pose. Shame. Masterpiece, meanwhile, starts out really good with a nice head, roughly the same. Hands are roughly the same, just with some articulated fingers. Ab crunch and waist swiv. That's the most it can go. The legs are mostly fine, but nowhere near as capable as the Legacy figure, which is a bit of a shame, especially the weak ankle joints. But at least it has some loud ratchet joint. It also has this hip joint. Might have worked better with, I don't know, a proper waist. I know this kind of joint can work well on smaller figures, such as the Masterpiece Jinrai, but I don't think it's working for this guy. And I don't know if this guy can hold a pose on his own, because this figure has a bit of a reputation for really weak joints. This guy in his original release had some of the weakest joints I've ever seen, and they just refused to hold up anything, including his own shield. If you get this figure, you absolutely need to get the upgrade kit by KFC to fix this guy. Otherwise, he's gonna flop about more than a Disney movie recently. It's a shame because, as a general rule, I try to avoid upgrade kits. I don't think you should rely on third parties to fix a figure. But in this case, you absolutely need it. Ugh. At least it's only $20. But now that he's upgraded up, he's a lot more durable and stable. And since we brought up KFC earlier, let's quickly dive into Victory Leo before we combine them. First up is Legacy Victory Leo here, who, in comparison to Star Saber, I consider fine. Like, he's a good size and all, but in comparison to the others, I don't think he'd work as well as a standalone figure. Like, don't get me wrong, he's nicely detailed and still looks overall cool, but there's no waist swivel, which is a bit silly, I feel. Like, he could easily have one even with the transformation later. The rest of the articulation is fine, but nothing special. And the face is just the most stock G1 face you can imagine. No expression whatsoever, which compared to the very determined faces on both Star Sabers, it's a bit of a letdown. Line form is solid though. So it's no surprise that KFC Simba is the winner in this category, because this thing feels on par with a proper Masterpiece figure, and standing next to Star Saber, he's a real treat. Like, you never tell this is a third-party figure. He feels just as high quality as Masterpiece Star Saber, complete with plenty of die-cast metal. Foreshadowing. You get actual waist pivoting this time, a lot more articulation, articulated fingers with those creepy long fingers that third-party companies like for some reason, posable hip guns, and a much better expression. Also, the chroming has been damaged at some point, sadly. More foreshadowing. And the line mode looks solid, and this time with posable paws. Well done. And since these guys are essentially accessories to the big guy, let's go over the combined accessories for both.
Excuse me, but aren't you forgetting about the Victory Jet mode?
Yes. Yes, I am. Legacy comes with that Brain of Courage figure I showed before, a shield, the Saber Blaster, a laser rifle, Laser Prime, a really nice display stand which gives a flying effect, 2 Micromasters with Holy and Fire, who are no peepo, but they're still great, blast effects, which you know I just love, stickers, which I didn't bother to apply because they tore as soon as I breathed near them. How much was this figure again? And finally, his sword, which is nicely detailed, but many have pointed out that it's a bit small for a sword-wielding character. I don't think it's too bad, but I get what they mean with the size of the hilt. But the upgrade kit I got for MP did come with an alternate sword blade, and the alt sword blade hilariously fits just fine if you want the alternative. Meanwhile, MP comes with the brain, as shown before, a shield, 2 sword blades, a different sword hilt, laser prime, a laser rifle, and display parts but no stand. Simba meanwhile comes with a jet nose, shield, more stand parts, a tail whip which is sadly lacking from the Haslab version, and the most comically large rifle I've ever seen. God dang Field of Freedom. There is a lot to love with these accessories, though if I had to choose, I'm leaning towards Legacy simply for the Micromasters and the actual base for the stand. But for both, you're getting mostly your money's worth. So now all that remains is to unite Victory Saber!
You're crushing it in like 100 minutes.
Legacy Victory Saber's combination is so nice and simple. Everything clicks together well, everything is locked into place, it is smooth as butter. MP takes a little more work as you'd imagine. Some of it's sensible, some of it a little scary. Like they actually warn you in the manual about putting too much pressure on the waist, which if that's such a recurring problem, why even do it like that? And the manual isn't the most helpful, but it's workable. And for Legacy, while the difference isn't major, a lot of this does go a long way to add some presence to the figure. Not that he looked bad, but now that he feels like he belongs to that Commander Plus class that Hasbro seems to like with Haslap. It feels a lot bigger, and those wings just look so good, and when combined with the stand, really do go a long way for this guy. Top marks all around. Makes the price of entry worth it, until I remember the stickers. MP, meanwhile, wow. So there is definitely a size difference now. Like these shoes alone add about 2 or 3 inches to the already foot-tall Star Saber. He's bigger than any Supreme class figure I have, and with those wings, he's practically an entire shelf stealer. A great big centerpiece figure. People are gonna see this, be amazed, and go, "What Gundam is that?" While Legacy still looks really nice, MP looks like an absolute event. But like a Millennium Dome kind of event. The kind of thing that looks impressive, but also makes you go, why? Because, well, let's face it, the backpack is unavoidable for Victory Saber. The Haslab one tried to tidy it up as much as they could, and even the shoes, they tried their best to keep it as compact as possible. KFC and MP, meanwhile, have a Kentucky Fried nightmare here. Boots that look messier than any Baver's design, and the absolute king of backpacks. It's just as thick, if not thicker, than the man himself. But here's the thing, it's not just big and cumbersome. This thing is just a logistical mess if you try to interact with it. Masterpiece Star Saber was not meant to have these boots on, and as a result, they have nothing to hold on to other than some holes in the feet. They're gonna fall off, and they did, damaging the figure before I could send it out to my buddy Mensch.
Okay, sure. Alright, as I was putting him away, he falls and foot shatters.
And the backpack is hanging on for dear life and absolutely dragging back Star Saber. And remember, he's got that wobbly waist, so pick him up and whoop! Remember when I mentioned Victory Leo had die-cast metal in him? Him having any was absolutely a mistake. It's all over his body, and as a result, this thing is insanely heavy and cumbersome. Everything feels like it's gonna fall apart, and he can't get much posing in because it's so weighed down. There's only so much that you can pose with this guy, and that's such a shame because there's a lot to love, but if I showed him any affection, he'd fall apart. I think it speaks to a big problem I've noticed with a lot of third-party Transformers, where it feels like they often don't take into account any kind of logistics. Like, surely someone should have gone, hey, let's not make it out of too much metal, otherwise it'd be too heavy. Hey, let's not have a stab with a potential to break our figure. And this is one of the better ones. I've seen some truly abhorrent examples. And I love third-party companies. I have several of them. But compared to the likes of APC Night Countess, Unique Toys Challenger, or Planet X's Menios, where the design teams clearly took a lot of time to make sure everything worked well together and nothing would fall apart and the materials were sensible, this is way too excessive for its purpose. Personally, I'd rather have it in Victory Leo form by itself. It works perfect there. So on that note, I'd hate to say it, but I'm leaning towards Haslab overall on this one. It's way more playable, it's way more fun to transform, it's a lot better. The only problem is, well, it's a limited amount. Cost of MP Simba and the upgrade kit compared to Haslab is roughly the same at the time of writing, but there's only so many of that Haslab out there, so that could all change. But then again, there's probably only so many of these two out there as well. And hey, if you're alright with the fact that posing is more limited, I'd say go for it. But I do want to clarify, Masterpiece Star Saber and KFC Simba are still good figures. In fact, they're great figures. As separate beasts, I think they're both fantastic at what they do. And there's a lot I like, but I just prefer the Haslab one. Also takes up less space on the shelf. But what about you? Which Star Saber do you think is better? Which appeals to you more? Do you prefer Masterpiece or Chug? Let me know in the comments and please subscribe.